때가 되면 나 뭐든 할 수 있을 것 같아. 나의 손을 꼭 잡아줄래. 넓은 세상 속 유난히 밝던 너의 두 눈에 깊이 빠진 날 외롭지 않게 혼자인 줄 알았던 나를 날 안아준 너 매일같이 늘 똑같은 자리 날 지켜주던 너 하고 싶은 말이 있어 지금 끝없이 깊어져만 가는 오늘로 꿈 같은 시간 끝나지 않아 우리라서 특별했던 모든 순간 같은 방향 같은 속도로 같이 걸어줘 끝나지 않아 오늘 말했던 그날 거기 계속 머물러줘 깊이 잠든 밤에 우리만 아는 이야기 추운 겨울을 만나 뜨거운 여름까지 찬란했던 우리의 시간 너의 그 힘이 얼마나 큰지 말해줄게 더 곁에 있어줘 약속해 우리 서로가 서로를 지켜주자 손가락 걸고 끝없이 깊어져만 가는 all night long 꿈 같은 시간 끝나지 않아 우리라서 특별했던 모든 순간 같은 방향 같은 속도로 같이 걸어줘 끝나지 않아 오늘 말했던 그날 거기 내게 머물러줘 Just wanna live in this moment forever 다시 일어날 수 있었던 이유 다른 높은 곳에 홀로 날 비춰줘 가슴에 널 안아보게 날 불러줘 가득 담아 말하고 싶어 한결같이 날 바라봐주고 내 편에서 그 자리에 함께해줘서 이 순간이 끝나지 않게 지금처럼 그 자리를 지켜줘 언제가 노래 되어 내게 닿게 여기는 편
Good evening and welcome back to Keskalokil, the dwarven fortress, sometimes by the sea and sometimes in the sea, that suffered some somewhat fatal flooding and some somewhat fatal invasion by goblins last session. But only somewhat fatal. I think we lost one of the military and rather more civilian dwarves. Most of the civilians because I forgot that the end of the siege didn't necessarily mean that all of the enemies had gone home. So everyone that piled back out into the outside world to pick fruit, only to be set upon by blind cave ogres and Monera. Both of which, interestingly, one of which the Dwarf Fortress Wiki doesn't mention can come with goblin sieges at all. They don't say that blind cave ogres can at all. They say that Monera are very rare. So we're terribly lucky. Blind cave ogres, the goblin sieges are much more keen on bringing trolls with them, and trolls are apparently much smaller than blind cave ogres. So yes, we now have a bunch of dead goblins and dead blind cave ogres and dead beak dogs to deal with. Beak dogs, at least, we can convert into food and leather, which is nice because we're out of leather at the moment. So yes, Jutton mentions and dead dwarves in trees. Don't think there are currently any dead dwarves in trees. Oh no, there's a dead dwarf in a tree. Happily, we've got step ladders now, so possibly we can get the dead dwarf out of the tree. Not sure. Though also we do need to actually expand our necropolis a bit because there's a lot more necro going on than there was. So yes, and meanwhile, of course, we did have a bit of surprise flooding last session, and while it's mostly drained away again now, there is a bit of a there are still some rooms here that I turn out not to have ever got around to draining, so I should do those. I think it's perfectly reasonable. If we stick a grate over that hole there, we could just drain them into this corridor. That will be fine. That gets down into the drainage system eventually. Let's stick one of those in. Oh, and while our population is low, I've noticed we're currently running at about half the frame rate I would like, even when the sea isn't getting in and causing terrible frame rate disasters. So I think I should make a small change. Somewhere in here there is the population cap setting, and I think I should turn that down to 100, which is what I usually used in the older version. So what that will do is to reduce, is to essentially cause the game to not gratuitously give me extra dwarves while I'm above 100. So in particular, we shouldn't get significant immigration for a while. We weren't getting much immigration anyway because we'd hit the 200 population cap. It doesn't ban births though. That's set by the strict population cap, and it seems to be perfectly reasonable that we should still be able to have new dwarves born in the fortress. They just won't immigrate here because, well, basically they've seen what the frame rate is like and decide they prefer to live somewhere else. Yes, that will actually mean that we probably don't ever need to build any more bedrooms. That would be nice. We should still get the water out of the existing ones, though. So how would we do that? We can presumably get access to this corridor fairly easily. Where is it? So that corridor is on that staircase. Right, which just turns up in someone's bedroom. Oh yes, Jutton suggested that we wall off the highly dangerous door. That probably means we should put a different staircase into this person's bedroom first. Can I do that? Yes, okay, that causes me to attempt to dig the top half of the staircase at least. Right, so... Oh yes, one somewhat interesting thing is that it turns out the game records an enormous text file of every message it has ever given me. I can't remember if I actually tried to do anything useful with that, but I did have a quick read through it to see if there was much interesting there, and it mostly told me that that killing a blind cave ogre appears to be a case of hitting it with an axe until all of its armour disintegrates, and then you can finally start hurting it. No, there's surprisingly few actual messages of people being stung by bees. And I was mostly looking at the recent bits, which are people fighting. So yes. So at the moment, I think the dwarves are almost all picking fruit, much to my irritation. Although there are some people repairing other dwarves, but there is an awful lot of gather plants going on. I might want to try to turn that down a bit. But they'll finish eventually, and it's nice to have enough booze for once. Yes, indeed, but it's non-zero. it's well above 0. I don't think it's been as high as 74 since I last bought some. Can I build at least a couple more coffins? No, I have no coffins at the moment. Right. I think all the tombs are currently occupied as well. Yup. Apart from that one. Why is that tomb not occupied, I wonder? What's going on here? Yes, that one. That's a garbage dump. It's not a tomb. There doesn't seem to be a tomb containing that coffin. We should perhaps fix that. So that one should obviously be that size. That's the garbage dump, which is different. That is a weird tomb that, like, doesn't look like it exists properly. Let's remove that one. Why does that door appear over that tomb, I wonder? Anyway. Oh, and we have a petition. The petition says that the unbridled order now requires a temple and a priest. Right. I think our temple arrangements are mad at the moment. So we have that, which I think is, yes, a temple for the Fatal Fellowship, but it's like weirdly not actually the shape of the room it's in anymore. So we should probably do a bit of repainting of that one while we're thinking about such things. Yes, there is. I think the temple merely needs to. Well, I'm not sure it needs to be dry. It needs to exist. It should have a certain value, but I don't think floodedness actually affects the value of the temple. Things like number of useful levers in it are probably more important.
It's not a proper temple unless there's something else that can pull to bring it crashing down.
Yes, or to flood it with water, one or the other. Oh, is the reason that door appeared inside, over the top of the tomb, because it's not actually a door? No, it is a door. Is it a door in a door? No, it's a perfectly ordinary door. It's an installed door, just like all the others. How odd. Yes, I think they're probably quite like the Lego ones. So that's our generic temple there. That down there is barracks, albeit that it doesn't occupy all of its space. I mean, we could use one of these nice large rooms down in the mines, but they're kind of inconvenient to get to. That space there is unused. Actually, no, I should actually accept the petition before trying to create it. It was the unbridled order, wasn't it? Yes, I think so. Right, so it's already at half the necessary value, probably mostly because it's got a bunch of limonite kicking around on the floor. What are you guys all doing there? Okay, you're all allegedly gathering plants, and you all seem to be doing it around the same persimmon tree. Which is some kind of weird behaviour. It's possible someone is trying to demonstrate how to suture a persimmon, yes. Well, in this fortress we're mostly a medical school and people demonstrate suturing all the time.
I thought maybe suture a persimmon was a pun reference. I don't know.
No, just people will frequently turn out to be attending suturing demonstrations when I would really like them to do something more useful with their time. This does mean we are excellent at fixing up injured dwarves. This is a very ill dwarf. But they've had the compound fracture of their fourth finger left hand repaired. Still need something doing about the tendons and ligaments of their left hand and their left elbow. How did you get into this state? I mean, you got into a fight with the Monera, but you seem to have beaten that fairly comprehensively. Yes, okay, so you were a non-military dwarf. You got repeatedly bruised by a blind cave ogre. All right, you got bitten, right, yes.
I assume blind cave ogre is the species name, not referring to this particular.
Yes, indeed. Blind cave ogres are in general a creature that according to the wiki has no eyes, but I did find one being hit in the eyelid.
Oh, you know, I live in no eyes.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it could be worse. Blind worms don't have eyes, but can see with them. Furthermore, aren't worms.
Right. Okay, yes, the blind cave ogre bit the surgeon in the finger, which was very bad for the finger and terribly bad for the poor surgeon's elbow. So presumably it was quite a vigorous biting. All right, and was otherwise slapping the surgeon around with a glove, which might explain why most of its attacks were ineffectual.
On the other hand, there's clearly a dual plan for the future.
Seb suggests put surgery demonstrations in the swimming pool. Well, the problem is that dwarves won't willingly enter the water. So you can only do this if you get them all to go to a surgery demonstration and then flood the room, which feels like it requires more micromanagement than I want to be getting into. Um, right, so no, we're still waiting for that grate to be installed, and I don't really want to do anything more about that. Oh, I was going to try to arrange that we made steel continuously. Because so I think that should actually be done whenever we have all of the necessary ingredients. Do we have a make pig iron at the moment? I don't think we do.
I had those instructions like pig design.
Well, that might help. We've almost certainly always got enough refined coal. Now we slightly want to arrange that we don't. This should actually, I think, be rate limited also by not producing vast quantities of pig iron that we then can't turn into steel because we don't have enough flux stone. So let's have the flux stone threshold be higher than the steel flux stone threshold as well. Okay, the dwarves are not all now clustered around the same persimmon tree. They do seem to be surprisingly unhappy, though. Why are you so unhappy? I mean, you're doing a lot of not feeling anything. Otherwise, it doesn't look so bad. Looks like the animals are slowly heading back out to the pasture. There's some spectacular squares around here in terms of quantities of armour in them. Look at all that lovely goblinite. Anything in there other than goblinite? Oh, I think I'd screwed up the stockpile assignments down here, hadn't I? Are you guys ever going to do any more mining? In that... So we've got 2 kilns at the moment because... Actually, maybe I should just abolish this kiln. Like, we're not making many things usefully at the moment in it. Let's just abolish it. That'll make life a lot simpler. What are you doing? I keep not being able to click on you. You're a 6-year-old child hauling some platinum around, which is why you're going so slowly. Still waiting for that grate to be installed. Still waiting for the manager to stop mucking around. No, that's not the button I meant. Still waiting for the manager to stop mucking around fetching fruit and to actually activate the make rock coffin job. Now they're stringing themselves out in a line across the orchard.
Skirmish line to make sure no fruit gets past unpicked.
Right, yes, I'm accidentally making a phenomenal number of iron cabinets. I should probably stop. I doubt that I need the 10 I somehow ordered. Right, let's find an iron cabinet to stick in the king's bedroom. Oh, actually, I don't think we currently. Oh, we'll probably make a beeswax crown at some point, won't we? Just because. Um, yes, yes. Well, we have got things other than beeswax, but we have plenty of beeswax. All right, the animals are mostly returning to where they should be, at least. The dwarves are still busy harvesting fruit. There we go, there was a crown. The king's requirement for crowns has now been dealt with. The mayor wants me to make 3 weapon racks. That's nice. I have a bit of a surplus of weapon racks, to be honest.
You can probably export weapon racks to the Baldur's Gate universe. Where they always seem to be weapon racks absolutely all over the place, all with exactly one weapon on. Which
Yes.
you can't tell what it's going to be until you've searched the rack.
Yes, yes, yes. We could indeed send all our weapon racks over to Baldur's Gate, where they seem to need a lot of them. I mean, the king, for some reason, needs 5 in his bedroom. Well, okay, in his quarters, in his rooms in general. Let's just have a look at the kitchen settings and make sure that the brewing versus cooking for all these different kinds of fruit is set sensibly. Yep, it seems to be for now. Okay, it looks like we've got plenty of rock nuts. Well, somewhat rock nuts around, but maybe they're all planted. I'm tempted just to turn everyone off fruit picking for a bit, simply so that we can get some stuff done. Assuming I can find the... so is... let's not take everyone off, but let's have a group that we can assign to do this. That is presumably the plant gathering, yes, thing. So that should cause most of them now to stop doing plant gathering once they finish their current plant gathering task. Maybe some other jobs will happen. We can put everyone back onto plant gathering once things are slightly less chaotic. Have you been run down by minecart? No.
Full force of an unspecified impact.
Yes, I think the cat may have fallen out of a tree.
Fighting the ground.
Yes, we are, like, not enough people are doing things that aren't harvesting fruit at the moment. Yes, someone will come along and pick up the acorns eventually. I just want to get some other things done. It's a slightly wider range of things happening now. In particular, we can see dwarves throwing, collecting objects to throw away. Which will probably help a bit. What's that over there? Toads! Oh, there's something rotting in this. Someone seems to have left the rotted head of a goblin here. That's inconvenient. What's it doing down there? I want it to rot on the surface so then we can stick it on a pedestal. On which subject? We need to re-erect a pedestal here, don't we? Yes. What? It's there. Did it get bizarrely... No, there's a... No, not that pedestal. Oh, that pedestal's forbidden. Right, let's unforbid that pedestal. But I think we found before that you can't put a goblin head on a pedestal until it's fully rotted. While it's rotting, you can't put it there, and you might be able to throw it away. Actually, what I'm going to do is slightly perversely just disable that meeting area. Let everyone leave that room. Let the goblin heads rot in there.
You can't put a half-rotted goblin head on a pedestal, but you can put an unrotted one?
I don't think you can put an unrotted one either.
Seems odd. I mean, you'd think the obvious moment to put your enemy's head on a pedestal when you've just removed it from the enemy, but then you don't forget to do it later.
No, it seems you have to wait until it's just a skull, and then you can put it on the pedestal. Oh, there's some nervous tissue we want to get rid of. This is nice. Now when I click on things to get dumped, the job gets scheduled pretty much immediately. See the T appeared there, indicating that someone was already taking the task on. We are getting an awful lot of meat from these beak dogs. I do hope we can eat it fast enough. So, right, the rock coffin's job is at least scheduled, though it will need someone to actually go down and fetch some rocks. Ah, and that floor hatch is installed. So now I could work out how to connect it through to those flooded bedrooms.
If you go to the app selector thing, you get screenshots of safety windows and so on. Or if you change the app and you want to go to this one, it will go to the thing. And when you change to one of them, very briefly get a flash of the previous one. You see a little red screen there, very briefly I opened it. Red lighting for a second. So it was on there. These screenshots here aren't the current state of things. That's because they were coming up back in September. That's the email I wrote you something back in August. I just mix them up things like it, and you can't change them. And it's not a big thing, but one of them showing.
Right, so that will
And it shows up every time I open the app, no matter what. And someone else said, once during the while, the personal email, can I remove this thing? No. You're stuck with whenever it decides to make these screenshots. It's the security license. Use.
oh dear, there's more stuff rotting. Let's work out what's rotting. Okay, we're not even managing to produce leather fast enough. What's going on in the tanner's shop then? Do you have any like really brilliant tanners? Few. Inclined to do that by. Let's try to get that more efficient. So that should make the tanning a bit faster, because we seem to have a bit of a tanning problem. I suspect we may also have a butchery problem, but on the other hand we also need to be able to deal with the food that comes out of that. So okay, there was a kea and a sea otter getting into a fight, but it appears that the kea is winning.
I'm surprised. That seems
There is our slightly unhappy sea otter.
not how I would bet in the real world.
The sea otter does not have any books. Well, we've drained one of those bedrooms at least. Now we apparently lost the designation to drain the next one. Still quite a lot of flooding up there, but it's not a room we care about. So have we got any statues lying around that we can stick in this temple? No. Okay. Let's do our usual thing and see if we can make some platinum statues. Possibly we similarly ought to actually get butchering mostly done by people who are good at it. Because that one also, I think, would benefit from speed. We don't have many good butchers. Well, for now, let's select the few halfway decent butchers we've got. So, oh look, beak dog leather being taken away for, well, probably just for storage initially, but it might eventually be turned into clothes. That would be good. Oh dear, the beak dogs are starting to rot now. Yeah, that probably wants dumping. Whee! More water comes out. More water and a quantity of socks.
Water and socks. I suppose they probably not very clean socks that way.
Yes. But he's got his iron cabinet, he can't have an iron bed. He still wants another 4 cabinets. Let's just make them all iron. What's the button for cabinet anyway? Oh, BF N. And 10 chests. Haven't even got 10 chests at the moment. But let's wait for those and then see if we need more. Yes, it's only the ramps that are getting de-designated. That's fine. Now we'll redesignate them. There. Then oops, I think all the bedrooms may actually be free of water. Be weird. Still plenty of dead beak dogs around. They are now mostly rotten, so sadly most of them are not getting not getting turned into useful leather and meat because they rotted too much. Like, I'm hoping that the ingredient stockpile has space in it, so oh dear, something else has rotted. There. Oh dear, some actual meat rotted because it didn't get transported to the ingredient stockpile, even though the ingredient stockpile has an entire empty space in it. Still, I'm mostly here for the leather. I mean, I suppose the ones that are rotting out on the surface, we could wait for them to become skeletons, and then we can at least butcher them into bones, but
Do your medical dwarves have a use for example skeletons?
not really, no. Or at least not now engaged in stupid quantities of fruit picking, yes.
Still quite a number watching a sort of medical demonstration.
Yeah, there's not much you can do to stop that. I mean, I've disabled one of the meeting areas that constitutes a guild hall, and it doesn't seem to have helped very much. Like, it's turned off and all these people are still there. Oh, can we build some coffins yet? No. I think there's a bit of a problem of there being so many things that need to be moved. There's not much prioritisation going on. And yes, again, we can see that we're possibly oversupplied with ingredients. Thought I'd marked every tooth for dumping, but apparently not. Mostly we want to... Right, that probably means we can now... Why did that get suspended, I wonder? Oh, is there another object on the square or something? No. So I think bones are not valuable enough that I'm going to save things for them. So out here I should probably dump bits of goblin, because it does slightly upset people to see... Well, dump those bits of goblin I'm not going to put on pedestals, because it does slightly upset people to see them. The beak dog bits may as well remain, as long as people don't bring too many rotting objects into the fortress. Someone seems to have decided to file all of the nervous tissue in this stockpile, which is kind of weird.
Go right down to nervous tissue. How can they remember whose it was anyway? You might recognise some particular dead goblin's head. Conceivably their leg if they have a distinctive tattoo or a scar or something. But nervous tissue.
Of a beak dog, not a goblin as well. I mean, I assume we've got some non-economic stone kicking around somewhere. Maybe our problem is actually that we have nothing to make these things out of until I clear some more space. I just need to do some mining just to get some stone, which is kind of mad. I suppose I could see if I've got... What does my various resources look like? I do have 943 stone, allegedly. But much of it may well be like tied up in things. And quite a lot of it appears to be like actually useful stone. Okay, what's the wood situation? Should I just start making a few things out of wood? I have got a genuinely quite generous supply of wood. Let's stop trying to make rock coffins. I'm sure we can make wooden coffins. Yes, they're just called caskets. I don't think we can make the mountain homes send us some iron beds, because I don't think that we can ask them for them any more than like they can exist, and any more than we can make them ourselves. But I suppose since you can't make, say, barrels of bumblebee venom, but you can somehow acquire them nonetheless, possibly it would have worked. We traditionally make billen chains. Let's make make a couple of billen chains. Keep the king slightly happy. So the king's bedroom is still not up to the required standard, even though it's fairly flooded with cabinets. Let's enlarge our chalk mine a little. Try to get rid of the remaining goblin parts that aren't heads. Then we can permit, well, I mean, we could probably just reclaim all the items anyway. It's not like people are going to be very upset by seeing dead goblins these days. It's quite normal for this fortress. It's already being dumped. Good. So yes, let's go and say claim all the forbidden items up there. Indeed, basically everything that's lying around on the surface. Yeah, so migrants have arrived after I turned down the number of people in the fort, the limit of people in the fortress. Right, well, they're mining some chalk down there at least. smooth that dump conglomerate, and also auto mine that clear tourmaline. Yeah, we'll mine the damp clear tourmaline as well. And smooth the exposed rock that might be part of an aquifer. I don't think it is actually, given it hasn't leaked here yet. But like, it's probably better to be on the paranoid side when it comes to aquifers. So are we off for statues? What is this? A temple to? Well, it might be good. It's for the unbridled order. But I don't know that I know what their god is. Well, I have a statue of Echo Helpsaved, who is one of the dwarven gods, but I don't know whether it's the one that's for this temple. And it seems kind of rude to stick a statue into someone's temple that is not of the god that they worship.
Or what any of the gods that that temple is for.
Yes. Well, that's quite a generous cluster of gems. At least I think it's a cluster of gems. Oh right, some of it's bituminous coal. Okay, we're accidentally starting a coal mine down here. Well, that's fine.
You were expecting gems and you got coal. Was this war perhaps naughty you?
It's possible, yes. Thing is that bituminous coal appears as the same character as gems. I'm not sure it's correct to find coal in chalk, but right, now we just have to recognise the priesthood of Um, the Cathedral of Spurting, as it is apparently called. And indeed appoint a suitable sacred raunch.
Skilled comedian.
Well, I don't know what you need in a priest. Something's rotting again. We're trying to cook these beak dogs, but everyone's so busy with the general aftermath of this.
Series of unfortunate events.
Yes. Excuse me, I'm going to pause for a bit because I think I've got things a bit tangled up here. I might have marked something for dumping that I didn't want to lose. So how do I work out which heads are currently on other pedestals? Here you have that one and that one. Not sure that helps. For some reason, searching for head doesn't get you any of the appropriate heads. Well, let's try selecting one and seeing if it turns out to have been one that's already on a pedestal somewhere else. Most of them aren't. Things seem to be getting reasonably efficient now, apart from the quantities of rotting flesh we've got kicking around. What does the Duke want me to make? Picks. Well, that's nice. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Yes, now the butcher's shop is mostly converting skeletons into individual bones, just in case we need more bones. Which is fine. We may as well also mine the gems that we found. Now making things out of beak dog bone, because, well, we've got quite a lot of it. Oh, we need to install doors as well, don't we? Happily, we've got quite a lot of doors. Let's just stick all the doors we can into the necropolis. And what few extra coffins we can. Possibly we should just start mining out. At the very least, we could mine out some stone down here in areas that might turn into bedrooms or corridors or something. Not, as I say, that we're very likely to decide that we suddenly need all the bedrooms. One of the weird things about this game is just how much minerals there are, so that we don't really have to go looking for them. We thus don't end up with vast amounts of common stone.
I feel as if you started them to be one of the weird things about Dwarf Fortress. You haven't really narrowed it down very much.
No, I was meaning about this particular game of Dwarf Fortress rather than Dwarf Fortress in general.
With Dwarf Fortress in general, you'd be faster to list the things that weren't strange.
So we do still have a bit of an everything is rotting problem there. But we've cleared up most of the junk from the incoming dwarves. Most of what's left most of what's left is heads, which dwarves, goblins, which really want to be put on pedestals. Though I do keep finding teeth. So yes, we could probably do oh, have we got some, yes, right, we could mark some more tombs down here, which will probably help. He says, spotting several dead dwarves lying around that really ought to be buried. You have at least one place item in tomb job pending. Good. Ah, there's some actual ordinary rock up here because of my attempts at digging out things that might one day become bedrooms, maybe, if we really need them to. But like, if not, they're still a halfway decent source of rock. We have a population of 182. How many beds have we got? 193 installed, so yeah. Some of those are in the... Oh dear. Oh right, did you get stuck in a tree by any chance? That's unfortunate. There seem to be several people starving in this tree. Right, which tree is that? It's a cherry tree, which is a pity. But I think if people are going to get stuck in the trees, if people have got stuck in a tree, it's worth felling that tree, even if it does lose us some of our fruit production. It will also hurt them as they fall out of the tree, but like that's better than starving to death up there. Someone will be along to cut your tree down shortly. So I don't know quite how they got stuck in that tree, but... Chop, 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 chop. Right. Think someone was collecting fruit. Observe, dwarven child falls out of tree. Rushes back home with a haul of cherries. We still have a dizzy surgeon who is apparently trying to gather plants in that tree. Oh, damn it, someone else just dropped dead in a tree. I think I'm going to explore these trees, find everyone who is currently dehydrated in a tree. And cut their trees down. You're thirsty, and the fact that you're still in that tree while thirsty is probably not a good sign.
I think they're stuck up these trees.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. Actually, they seem to be able to move some of them, which is a bit entertaining. Like, can we? My guess is they went up there with the help of their. Do we maybe just, because if they can clamber around in the trees, maybe we can like construct staircases up to them. I don't think we can construct staircases through the tree, but we might be able to construct staircases into trees. I don't know what that. Hang on, I've got it set to select closest material. That's not sensible. Let's do that again this time, actually, because who knows what it might be made of if we do that. There do appear to be an awful lot of dead dwarves in these trees. I mean, like, okay, it's only 2 or 3, but that's still quite a lot, really, considering it's a tree. Right, so those dwarves, for instance, appear to have come up step ladders, which is perfectly sensible behaviour, and to have found some cherries. Like, that all seems kind of reasonable.
Then they just sort of stay there and don't come down to hydrate.
Well, possibly someone nicks their step ladder. That's my current worry. And then my hope is that if we put actual staircases up to tree level, that they will be able to use those permanent staircases to get up and down. But we'll see if, like, actually constructing these things works properly. Why is there still a blind cave ogre body hanging around? Dispose of it. People are bringing blocks out to build things. This one looks good. They seem to be heading for one that already has the lower section built. Will that then provide a route down that people are willing to use? Yes. This, at least one dwarf, this thirsty one, has descended from the tree and is admittedly still in gathering plants mode, which has caused them to go back up the tree, but they're now at the top of a stepladder, which probably helps. This dwarf is a bigger problem. Even though there are ways down out of the trees, they seem to be zooming around up in the tree rather than coming down. And the problem is they're moving a bit too fast for me to be able to just fell the tree under them. Possibly, if we make enough staircases, they'll use one of them. Someone going to come out and finish that staircase. Should I put in some more? I mean, I think I don't really understand dwarven routing in trees. Well, this one's about to get finished. Maybe that will be enough. Now can you get down that staircase? Yes. Right, our starving, dehydrated, drowsy dwarf is off to get some food. There is a task assigned for collecting that dead dwarf from the tree, so that's good. How is there a wheelbarrow up that tree? Oh, no, that's not a wheelbarrow. That's an amulet. That's okay. Right, so it looks like building staircases up into the trees at least allows things to be fetched back down from the trees. Or dwarves to be fetched back down from the trees. It's not clear quite how many... Okay, now they're going to install this staircase from above. Yes. Currently, my best guess is that the dwarves climb up a stepladder into the tree, wander off in the tree for a bit, and someone below them nicks their stepladder. So, like, this lot shouldn't be in too much trouble because there is a stepladder directly below them. But here we can see a dwarf making off with a stepladder.
Claire is still pushing the clear conspiracy theory.
Also, we need more tombs. We also need more... No, we're okay for doors at the moment. Right. Oh, I want to make some pedestals, don't I? And I could also do with like mining out some dull rock. Strictly, we could use interesting rock for things, but bauxite's quite fun actually. It's like brightly coloured. Let's just set up a big bauxite mine down here. Okay, let's try pressing the correct button to set up a big bauxite mine. Bright red. Sorry, bauxite is bright red. I mean, it's not quite such a good colour as microcline, which is cyan, but I suppose if I get messages about gathering plants could not find path, that's an indication that someone is in trouble in a tree, probably. So I'm not too worried about brownish down arrows, because I think those just indicate unhappiness, and we've got a fair amount of unhappiness around at the moment. So I think that staircase, incidentally, was ill-advised, because I don't think you can actually build a staircase into branches. I think you need to build it alongside the branches. It looks like the prepared meal stockpile still has some space in it, so that's good. Right, I reckon those bones are too small to be useful then. Possibly they're materials. No, those appear to be materials, don't they? So probably, yes, the Craft Dwarf's workshop can process those. They've just ended up in a slightly surprising place. So yes, down here we are mining some bauxite, mostly for building things purposes. Did I just make a bunch of the wrong kind of thing? Yes. Let's make some... Oh, we've probably got those coffins installed now, haven't we? Yes. Well, let's turn those into tombs so that we can store some dead dwarves in them. Right, oh yes, we were trying to construct a staircase here, weren't we? So because once that staircase is in place, then we could remove the, or block up finally the forbidden door. Also make a bunch of wooden doors for our tombs. Have a legendary carpenter who currently busy making masterwork coffins. Okay, we've got quite a lot of coffins in stock now. Going to be limited by the rate at which we can add doors to these tombs. Right. Still, dead dwarves are now properly getting buried, at least some of them. I do need to keep a slight eye on what's going on in the trees. Just hope they don't get any higher in the trees. Doesn't look like they're going above the first level of tree though. Possibly because to go higher they'd have to be able to take a stepladder into the tree, which is mostly impractical. I slightly worry they might be able to take the stepladders up the stairs into the trees. Wonder if you can carve staircases up tree trunks. I presume you can't. No. At least.
I suppose there's no way you can forbid the carrying of step ladders up certain staircases or anything like that.
No, I think that would be asking too much. I mean, mostly I'm thinking I shouldn't have allowed them to have step ladders in the first place. It's an enormous queue of dwarves installing coffins. We don't currently have any spare doors. Excuse me, why is there a mutilated goblin corpse in that room? Oh, we should probably turn that back on again. It's not rotting now, and it doesn't seem to have made much difference anyway. Are people still having fun in the swimming pool? Seem to be surprisingly few people having fun in the swimming pool. Come on, learn to swim. It'll be good for you. It will lead you to lead to your being drowned rather less. Yes, some of this is damp. Well, such is life. Yes, because of course we're under the sea here. It's kind of weird that building materials are our major thing we're short of at the moment. It's a forgotten beast. A huge beakless pigeon with a round shell. It appears to be emaciated. Its aqua feathers are long and narrow. Beware its poisonous sting. Well, it shouldn't be able to get into the fortress, he says optimistically.
What is this huge pigeon doing in your fortress? Surely it is plotting a coup.
Thank you. So, indeed, it's not currently visible. forgotten beasts always turn up in the caverns. If they were on the surface, they would be called titans. And it appeared about here, and, well, we can't see it at the moment, and it doesn't appear in the unit list. So I think it has already gone out of our sight range. Like, we can't see the whole of the caverns, so I suspect it is bimbling around in the caverns, and all being well, it will not be able to make it out of the caverns because we have carefully sealed the caverns, or not sealed, we have carefully covered all of the entrances to the caverns with grates, and are now dumping quantities of water down them. Yes. But it's got some of the sea. We have dumped quite a lot of sea into the caverns. Actually, we should see how flooded the caverns are at the lower levels. Yeah, like we can see 8 Z levels of flooded cavern now. Like, it's not full of water, but because there's still an awful lot of unflooded Z levels of cavern, and eventually we'll reach the point at which it can drain, the water can drain off the map from the caverns. But right now we have put quite a lot of seawater into the... Actually, is it seawater, or has it got filtered at some point? It's got filtered, so it somehow manages to end up as fresh water. Yes, we might get to see the Forgotten Beast occasionally, but for the most part, I'm afraid it's going to be staying well out of our way. I can't currently see anyone dying of dehydration up here. It's late summer, and I think the leaves are falling from the trees now.
So all the dwarves need to do when they're stuck in the tree is sit on one of those and...
Yes, thank you. Why is there still what looks like a dwarven skeleton out there? At least we do have some really excellent carpenters. We can make things out of wood really quickly if necessary. And there's still a decent supply of wood around, so while admittedly it's more dwarfy to make things out of coal, sometimes you have to take advantage of what's conveniently available to you. Coal, rock. I mean, it's not that deep to the nearest rock, so maybe I should just start mining vast quantities of siltstone from here. Though, actually, the bauxite is fairly nearby too. We're just a bit paranoid about it because it's got the sea above it. But that's fine. We'll mine the easily accessible bauxite first. What's that there? Oh, amber opal. Well, we'll bother mining that. Even though it is damp. Well, I mean, they mostly don't fall out of the trees. I'm not sure that our working at height training includes don't accidentally end up stuck there because one of your colleagues has nicked your stepladder.
I mean, if you think of anyone needs training for that incident, it's the one who's nicking the stepladder. They're going to not bloody do that.
Short delay while things get saved. Nine additional tombs. Given that we still seem to have random dwarf skeletons lying around, might be necessary. Our sacred raunch is currently up a tree, but they do have a stepladder below them, so it's probably okay.
So far.
I notice that now that we're not doing so much fruit collecting, the amount of drink we have available is dropping again. Possibly it would be safe to put more people onto fruit collecting. It's our miners' situation, because we seem to only have one person mining. No, we've got plenty of miners assigned. Jacob asks, which shop is the gallery likely to shop for Tuesday things from? Probably Eddington Sainsbury's, but I don't know. Good night, Simon. Let's do a bit more mining down here. It's those that damp but jewels. What are you doing? Oops. All right, you're coming to collect rough jewels to take up. Yes, rough gems, rather. Right, good. More dead dwarves being properly filed away. Oh yes, do we have some grates to install in several people's bedrooms? Yes. There we go. And that staircase is now constructed. So once we've removed that staircase, I'm just thinking I should stick some cabinets in some of these bedrooms so that, since we have a vast surplus of cabinets, so that they have somewhere to put all their clothes. Sure, we'll run out of cabinets at some point soon. There we go. Oh good, people are riding minecarts again. That's happy. I think now all of the dwarves who died stuck in trees have been properly buried. We do still have a problem here which we would like to drain, but I don't think I'm going to try draining anything else tonight. Currently a load of dwarves wandering off with cabinets to try to sort that out, and then we'll presumably get a load of dwarves going and trying to stuff things into their cabinets. Once they've all been installed. Nope, Steph. So we're getting unable to make meals. That suggests that the ingredient stockpile is mostly empty. Doesn't look like it is. So the brewing jobs are still pretty busy. Looks like that area is mostly damp now. This layer, of course, is going to be mostly damp too. It's like a large cluster of microcline up there, which would be quite nice for building things out of, I suppose. It's reasonably accessible. There's a lot of bauxite here, but that's currently not accessible. Maybe we should finally drain this section of mine. There's a convenient bit of bauxite we can get at. Stick a grate there. Wonder, is there an enormous slew of store-owned item? Slightly more store-owned items than usual, but not actually many. So once we have a grate here, then my plan is to make a hole there. I also seem to have some gems here. Let's quickly mark them for mining. once that grate's installed, then we can tunnel a little way leftwards here and make a hole up through the floor there and start draining that section. It'll take a long time for it to fully drain, but be good to make a start. Is anyone going to come along and install that? Great. Yes, good. It does tend to dump water down that staircase as well, which is not ideal. We prefer it if all the water went down the grate. Oh well, not a problem really. See if someone can actually make it down here to dig that out. The water level here should be shallow enough that it's not a problem. Indeed, I think it's mostly coming in through the walls. While we're here, let's smooth the upper levels walls at least. To reduce the ingress of water a little. I'm sure he has. This will be a bit exciting for you, my poor miner, but come on. Thank you. But I'm sure you'll be able to get out. See, you can actually walk faster than the water comes in. Right, so now we're draining this level, which might be a nice source of maybe slightly less wet bauxite, at least once we've got some of this level drained. There's an argument that we should put more effort into draining this area. Actually, that would be fairly simple to do, wouldn't it? We could just say extend this corridor northwards far enough to reach there. Oops, no, not that kind of digging. So I hope this section won't be wet, because essentially we should only see dampness when we reach somewhere where making a hole will actually cause some water to come out. Okay, and apparently the the rock we found down here is native platinum. Well, that's nice. Okay, our dwarf has decided that the water up here is not so deep as to be a problem, and is wandering out through it. Mostly. So that will get a bit more water out of here. Should dry this area out a bit more by giving an alternative route for the water to get out. What now? Oh, a caravan has arrived. Right. That's going to require a lot of thinking, or possibly a lot of doing. So I reckon that's a good time to stop for the night. Because we'll have to think about what stuff we want and what stuff we can sell to them, and why there's a beak dog skeleton lying around there. Why hasn't it got brought in as a corpse? Anyway, no one stuck in the trees at the moment, and that's definitely not a thing to be done late at night. So I think I'm going to declare that the arrival of that caravan is a good time to call it a night. Oh, Tetri, right as well. So I think at this point we say good night, and we will see you on Friday, I expect. So until then, good night.